nigga. Hey, it's Colin.
What's up, it's Roy?
Hey, we've been getting a lot of questions, and we appreciate that. This kind of guides us in the direction that you guys want us to go in, instead of us just randomly throwing stuff out there. It's just going to kind of keep us focused. This one's talking about feet. So I don't know about feet.
That's my world. Feet.
That's it. Here's his world.
Feet. That's all I'm.
That's his world.
Yeah, go ahead and let you imagine. It gets way weirder than that.
No, man. But this comes by way of Virginia from Becky Smith. Okay? And
Hi, Becky.
Becky. Okay, guys. I have one for y'all. Witten had a gait analysis done on fitting for running shoes. Discovered, well, not really discovered, but it was confirmed that I run on the balls of my feet. All right? What's that do, Roy?
Actually, that's what you're supposed to do. That's a good discovery.
Okay, you're actually so far so good. Which apparently could be causing shin splints. Okay, maybe. How the heck do I train to run properly? I'm aware that you're probably not going to do this do a whole episode on this. So what are we going to do here?
Actually, I think this is a great question. And when you said you run on the balls of your feet, that's kind of what got my attention. Thinking that's wrong because it's actually not. That's actually what you want to do. Here's the thing: shin splints can be caused by a lot of things, but most of the time it's from running on a hard surface. That's what causes shin splints. And occasionally it'll be small fractures in the bones. I don't know if that's what's happening with you. I'm not your doctor. I'm not trying to be. I doubt it. I mean, you would probably be in a lot of pain if that were the case. But most of the time, shin splints are things that you can treat at home. And what I would do, you can do what you want. We always tell you that.
Do what you want to do.
Do what you want to do. But the fact that you're running on the balls of your feet is good. That's what you're supposed to do. And you see these shoes right here? These are good old American Reeboks.
What about the calf?
The calf in there, bam. My leg's shaking. I did legs earlier. Whew. See, the thing about these shoes that we wear is they've got these big, thick heels. Lots of support. Support, right? Well, the thing about support is it makes you not use all the muscles that you should be using. Now, if you were to take these shoes off and run, you would naturally run on the balls of your feet. You wouldn't heel strike the way you do.
Right.
You would run on the balls of your feet because that's the way you're supposed to run. But because of these shoes that we wear, these high performance running shoes and all this sort of thing, we run typically with a heel to toe motion. And that's a crazy impact on your knees, on your hips, on your back. I mean, it'll jack you up. That's why a lot of people are switching to what they call a pose running form. There's a type of running called pose running. Mm-hmm. You can look into that. I can't do it. It's too hard. It's too hard for me to do.
Is it like kind of heel kick into it?
It's a toe running thing that they do where they kick the back of their leg up real high. And
I saw some of that in CrossFit not too long ago.
CrossFit
It looks weird.
It's weird. It's really weird. But it was just too weird for me to try to learn. But keep running on the balls of your feet. If it were me, I would encourage you to, I know you're down there in Virginia, you're close to Virginia Beach. Go to the beach, take your shoes off completely, run in the sand.
Right.
Now listen, I want to tell you this too, and just to kind of a testament to how good it is to run the balls of your feet. There's a tribe, I know this is going to sound crazy, but there's a tribe in northern Mexico called the Tarahumara tribe. I think that's right. And they're the runningest motherfuckers on the planet. I mean, these people can run. One of them ran over 430 miles in over 48 hours. I mean, these people run. They run to catch their food. They run for sport.
I saw a documentary on that. It was
cool.
cool.
They're phenomenal. And one of the reasons that they can run so far is because they wear either just a small strap of leather or they're barefoot. Of course, it's also generations of them. They've been doing this for a long time. I'm not saying go out and run 4 miles or that you're going to be able to.
You would have to actually teach yourself how. It would be a learning curve.
But they run down. I mean, these people run down deer. They're not faster than deer, but they run it till it collapses. They just got this crazy endurance, and they all do it. The old, the young, the men, the women, the children. They can all run like this. They have no knee problems. They have no back problems, no hip problems, any of that sort of thing. And it's one of the things they do is they run on the balls of their feet. So keep doing that, okay? And here's the other thing. A lot of times shin splints will be not necessarily because of your legs. It can be your core or your hips are a little weak, so I would really encourage you to work on your core. Stay off the hard surfaces. Switch to barefoot running if you can do that. I know that's not always convenient.
Right.
That's what I would do. And as far as your shin splints go, as far as treating them, I'm not telling you what to do, but if I had shin splints, I would do what they call the rice method, the rest, ice, compression, and elevate.
Right.
And that's what I would do. You know, keep running on the balls of your feet. Don't let somebody tell you that's wrong.
Yeah, that's awesome. And transdermal magnesium, I know.
For real.
I mean, we get into that. We've got onto a couple of times on Facebook, but it's super important to keep that magnesium in your system so that your body can recover.
Right, get the gel, the magnesium chloride.
Right. And we're going to go into that into more detail on some other videos, but that'll help you out too. What about compression?
Compression, that's part of the rice method, you know, and they say, you know, to rest is always best. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if it takes 3 to 6 months for this to go away. It's typically a strain injury is what happens with these muscles when you get these shin splints. If you're going to keep running, I would do it on something soft. That's the main thing. Do something soft. Immediately after, do the rest, ice for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Compression, you know, you can get those compression sleeves that you put on, that you wear, and elevate them. Get them up above your heart. And that's it. Hey, if anybody else has any more questions, there's an email at the bottom of this.
Throw them out there.
Hit us with it.
Good thing.